Well, I've gotten several, probably 30 requests on sharpening an axe. Uh, Sharpening an axe, sharpening knives is something that brings out a lot of experts. I'm by no means an expert. I chop with it till it's dull, then I sharpen it. I'm pretty rudimentary when I go to sharpen it. I have some basic tools that I'll go over that I show you that I use. So what we're going to be going over is basically reworking an edge a little bit. I'm going to do that with this axe that I have clamped down, this plumb boy's axe, and then touching up an edge just after regular use. And a friend of mine, I'm going to use the Hudson Bay he just got and redid. So we'll go ahead and touch that up and get it up to sharp as it needs to be. But for this, I like to do stuff out in the field. You don't have to make a little clamp like this, but it's something you can do. All it is a couple of branches, a loop of 550 cord on this side, Canadian jam on this side, and then just squeezes down. I did it on a flat board that I have here for a bench, so that I cut the other day. But anyway, it works better, I think, if it's tightened down somehow, or in a vise. You can do it at home too. So we'll go over the tools and then we'll get to sharpening. For basic sharpening of an axe, depends on how long I'm going to be out in the field. If I'm going to be out for a week or longer, I know I'm going to be using a lot of axe work. I like to take a file out there with me. Here's a couple files I've carried in the past. It's just a Mill Bastard file, a small one. I put a handle on this one, put a little piece of leather on it so when I'm sharpening I don't cut myself. It works pretty good, it's easy to do. And this is just another file, but it has a commercial handle. This unscrews, loosens it up, and goes in there. Now you don't have to have a handle, but it makes things a lot easier, lets you get a grip on it, and works a lot better. So for that's for getting my edge down. If I get a big nick in it or something like that, I'll use a file, or if I need to reprofile the edge if it's a new axe. For touching up, I have several things I use. A Falkniven, I'm sure if I pronounced it wrong, I'm sure somebody on the internet will correct me, but it's a DC4. It's got diamond on one side and ceramic on the other. I use that for touching up. Then also a ceramic rod and a diamond steel rod. So these are the tools that I use almost all the time. Now you can use a Lansky puck, and there's other things that you can use, but these are the tools that I prefer and I use all the time. So what we'll do now is we'll talk about kind of reprofiling the axe a little bit, and I'll get a close-up on that. I've got my axe clamped down. You can see it moves the whole table. The axe doesn't move. Now that's not to say it won't slip, and I might have to readjust it. It's no big deal. But you might want to wear gloves when you're doing this too if you're not used to it. You can nick yourself, or you can lay yourself open pretty good. But what I want to do is, most of the time when I'm talking about reprofiling, and I'm not into specific angles, that's just not me. I just try to keep it flat as I can against the blade, and I work into the blade, take the whole stroke. And I'm just holding that blade, or that file at the same angle. You can almost use this finger as a guide and run it along the back. It'll help keep the same angle. And this one was just a little bit too steep of an angle, so I'm flattening it out. Now you can count how many strokes you do it on each side. You can see that metal coming off right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Metal coming off is good. Starting to shine up on that edge. I'm going to flatten it out. Alright. I think that's looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip this thing over, and I'm going to file it again on the other side. And I won't necessarily show me doing that, but I'll show you once it's done the angles that I'm looking at here. Alright, I'm going to try and give you the view that you want to look at your edge on. After you've filed it on both sides, you want to look down the edge and see if it's even. Now this time, remember, we just reprofiled it. We just took some meat off of the sides here, right? So now we just want to make sure that it's even. If it's not perfect, it's not a huge deal, okay? It's still going to chop, it's still going to split, it's still going to do what you want it to do, but it just won't do it as efficiently, and it might bite a little bit more on one side or the other. So I hope you can see what I'm talking about. The sides are even. Alright, we'll talk about sharpening it up a little bit more now. I'm going to try and show you with this fork nibin about how I use the diamond flat side on this. Alright, I like to take it, and this will get out some nicks too. But I like to use a circular motion on it. And this is after I've reprofiled it. I'm just trying to smooth it out because the file can leave a lot of burrs and stuff and leave a lot of marks. And I want that cutting edge to be as smooth as possible. I always go into the cutting edge. Some people go away. Bottom line is if you get it sharp, then that's what counts. All right, and I'm keeping it at that same angle, and you should be able to feel the angle. All right, and you should be able to see that it's taken a lot of those marks out. And I'm going to do this to both sides, and then once again, bring it up to my eye and eyeball it and see how they look as far as being even. Alright, so I'm going to do that to both sides. And I don't necessarily hold it like this. I usually hold it like this. If I'm going to do this side now, you can see that. Yeah. Like I said, this is just the way I do it. One of the last things I'm going to do after I've done that with my diamond, I can take this, and we'll do this on this other axe here in a minute, but I'm going to take my ceramic, I'm going to run five on that side, I'm going to spin it around, and I like to test it on my thumbnail. It should bite into your thumbnail a little bit, then it should shave, right? I don't know if you can see that or not. I think you can, maybe. Yeah. Alright, so that's pretty sharp. It's kind of a nasty piece of wood here. But you should be able to do like shavings. Should have got a better piece of wood. Or chop with it. Alright? Now for touch-up, I'll grab that other axe and we'll do a touch-up real quick. Alright, so you've been working with your axe a little bit. Dulls up. To touch it up, I can use my diamond steel if I don't have my DC4 with me. And I'm holding it at that same angle that I hold everything at. Then I like to do a final touch-up on it. If you do this fairly often, you won't have to break out the file as much, hopefully. Now I like to test it on my thumbnail once again. Should bite pretty good. And sharpen it right up to shaving. So it's sharpening the axe, there's no great mystique to it. Right? The biggest thing it takes is practice. You've got to practice. As with anything in life, if you don't practice, you're not going to be good at it. And if you screw up an axe, I've never seen one screwed up so bad from somebody trying to sharpen it that it can't be fixed. You just have to work on it and get that angle nice and flat, okay? The wider the angle is, the harder it is going to be to sharpen later, and it splits better, but it won't chop as good. So you want that angle nice and thin. I don't go by direct angles like I said before. I just go by eyeball and how it chops. So give it a try. Don't be afraid to screw something up. That's the biggest thing. Just get out there and do it. Do a little chopping, be safe, and keep your axe nice and sharp.